Hi guys, welcome back or welcome to Switch to Life. And today we are live streaming in order to celebrate the 30th anniversary of DreamWorks Animation. And I am very excited to do that. Speaking of, hello Rocket Man 101. That's actually a pretty cool username. So, for those of you who are joining in, this is going to be a Q&A live stream. So basically, you can ask me any question that you want, starting like any question at all, as long as it relates to DreamWorks or animation in general, and it can even be about this channel. Just make sure that it's appropriate. So with that in mind, just lay it on me. Okay, so I'm not really sure how long this live stream is going to be. I guess it just depends on how long it takes. Okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong, because at this point I think me and Rocket Man are the only people watching this thing. Okay, do you think DreamWorks will make spin-offs for the Furious Five and the Crimson Paw? I am... Oh, Amy... Oh, by the way, Amy is a member of the channel, Troll Tier. That's really cool. Thank you for your support. How long have you had the channel for? Okay, I've had the channel since January 2023. Like, that was actually a New Year's resolution to start a YouTube channel. So that's how long I've had the channel for. Back to Rocket Man's question. Do you think the Furious Five will make spin-offs for the Furious Five from Kung Fu Panda and the Crimson Paw from the bad guys? I would say no to the Crimson Paw because I feel like the movies, like the bad guys main series, will do a deep dive into Diane's character in future sequels, and she can have her character development there. Whereas with the Furious Five, I would think that, well, here's the thing. DreamWorks has come out and said that they do not want to do anything related to the Kung Fu Panda franchise as long as it does not focus on Po. But with that in mind, if people are asking for a Furious 5, then who knows, maybe. Maybe once Kung Fu Panda 6 is released and DreamWorks wants to make some more Kung Fu Panda projects, they could do a Furious 5 movie, or maybe even a Furious 5 TV show. I think that would be pretty cool. Granted, I don't know what it would even be about, because we already know the origins of each Furious 5 member as well as how they met. So, I don't know. Are there any plans for another Croods movie? Okay. I actually don't think there are any plans right now. Like, maybe there's some in the early stages of development, but nothing has been announced to the public. Unlike other DreamWorks projects where they say, yeah, we hope to do a sequel, they never said anything about Croods 3. So, with that in mind, I do think that Croods 3 does have potential, but unfortunately, it's just, it's not going that great. So, Okay, not really sure what else to say. Maybe I should probably wait to do live streams until I get more of an audience, but we're just going to keep this thing going for at least another 10 minutes. What do you think of the Wild Robots sequel announcement? Wait, it just got a sequel announcement? Well, okay, so I don't actually know if this is actual announcement. I do know that the creators of The Wild Robot, including the writer and director Chris Sanders, has said that everybody loved working on The Wild Robot and would not mind returning to the world. And at the same time, we also know that The Wild Robot's based on a trilogy of books. So the next movie will most likely focus on The Wild Robot Escapes, which will see Roz going from the mainland where she's surrounded by humanity to the island where she feels home. So with that in mind, I would welcome a Wild Robot sequel, but at the same time, I don't have high hopes for it, because the issue for the Wild Robot sequel is that the Wild Robot first film was super amazing, and I don't think that we're ever going to get anything that's even remotely as good as it. And so the sequel has high expectations to live up to. Maybe it will blow them away, but at the same time, I think it will be good, but probably not as good as the first movie. Amy says, what is your favorite soundtrack from a DreamWorks movie or favorite song? My favorite song from a DreamWorks movie is All Star from Shrek. That's actually really iconic. And, yeah, my favorite song is All Star from Shrek. But at the same time, I would say that my favorite soundtrack has to be the How to Train Your Dragon music from John Powell. What about The Wild Robot made you appreciate your mom more? Oh, okay. Hi, hey, Elise McIntosh. So, obviously, So, the thing is, The Wild Robot is hang on, let me pull it up. Where is it? Here we go. The Wild Robot is a tribute to motherhood, as we see, hang on, where is it? Okay. Well, The Wild Robot is a tribute to mothers, and it shows the selfless sacrifice that moms make all over the world. In particular, there's this one scene that I found really funny, where Roz is forced to change her programming, and then she talks to another Rosm unit who just barely came online, and they were asking what could possibly make a Rosm unit struggle so badly with managing their tasks. And she just says, I have a kid. That is actually really funny, but also a testament to how hard it is for moms to raise their children. And at the same time, they have to do it for a very, very long time. And because of that, I think that the Wild Robot's just a great tribute, especially because it shows the lengths of how far Roz is willing to go. At first, she just sees the Gosling as a task, but eventually she starts to see Bright Bill for who he is and actually falls in love with him. I really enjoyed that. And, well, I don't know. It's just The Wild Robot is a super amazing movie, and it's hard to understand if you don't go and see it for yourself. But I really enjoy all of the selfless sacrifices that Roz made in order to raise Bright Bill, and it just reminded me of how many sacrifices my own mom has made for raising me. I hope that you enjoyed that, Elise. So, are there any other questions? And a reminder, it doesn't have to just be DreamWorks focus. It can also dive into some of the other animation studios. And who is your favorite DreamWorks character, person or animal? Hiccup. Definitely Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. Hiccup and Toothless just make a super amazing dynamic, and I feel like with Toothless, we do get to see a lot of him, but we don't know a lot about who he is as a character. With Hiccup, we see him all the time, and I technically grew up with the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, and the fun thing that I loved is How to Train Your Dragon grew up with me. By the time Hiccup becomes an adult, I was technically about to become an adult, so I really enjoyed that. And not to mention how we see Hiccup mature from this scrawny kid into a capable leader and chieftain who does everything in his power to make the world a better place. I definitely enjoy that about Hiccup, so he's my favorite. Amy says, I loved The Wild Robot. The animation was so beautiful. Do you have any idea what the animation process is like for that? So, let me pull that up again. The Wild Robot was made using a bunch of... So after you create the concept art for the characters, you need to create the CG models so that you will have them moving around. And the problem is that they used AI to have the characters move around. They created the CG models with humans, but then when it came time for animation, they just had the CG models move around. However, after that basic layout was made, they had human artists paint over every single frame of animation. And it's used with a stylus, not a basic hand brush. But I thought that the Wild Robot's animation of how it looks like a painting is coming to life is really cool. And it just makes the film come alive in a way that isn't possible anywhere else. So to recap, they use AI to make the characters move, but then they paint over every single frame of animation with human artists using a stylus. So, have you ever animated something? Do you ever want to learn? Okay, so fun fact, I actually tried to get into animation, but I just couldn't afford to get a quality PC in order to do it. But I just barely got myself one. It's being shipped. So I want to learn to animate, but I don't think we'll be seeing me publicly publish anything animated soon. So what are your thoughts on Toy Story 3 and Brave? Okay, that's actually really cool. So with Brave, I really enjoyed it. It's, like the Roy... So Brave is kind of its own thing where, hang on. Okay. So Brave is kind of special because it's kind of what makes the Pixar theory, which is like all of the Pixar movies exist in one timeline. It's what makes the Pixar theory stand out, about how we have a theory that Boo is a witch. But far more importantly, I really enjoy the Brave because it has a lot of Scottish actors who are making a lot of funny lines with their deliveries. But I also love the heart and message of Brave, which is that family is the most important thing. And obviously there will be struggles that divide the family. The important thing is that you come together to make the family stronger than ever. I definitely enjoyed that. And as for Toy Story 3, what can I say? Toy Story 3 was the perfect solution to having a Pixar trilogy. I mean, it just had the perfect ending for the franchise, and I'm very sad that they made Toy Story 4 and are making Toy Story 5. I'll admit Toy Story 4 was a good movie, but I hate it. It's not so much the movie itself, it's just the fact that it exists, because Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending. It had a great villain, funny moments, and especially the character development for Woody. I definitely enjoyed that. Ava says, I loved the Wild Robot animation too. Crazy that AI helped for a robot movie. Well, yeah, but honestly, DreamWorks is using AI to make all of their characters move around so that they don't have to do every little finger movement, like very slow and meticulous. They just have a start, an end, and then they let AI cover the rest. But after that, they still try to make sure that every single frame of animation looks realistic, and Also colorful and beautiful for animation lovers. Uh, so Victor M says, "What if Madagascar never exists and replaced with rockumentary, and the release date was May 27th, 2025?" Okay, so for those of you who may not be aware, the penguins of Madagascar aren't actually spy people. I mean, they are, but early on in the studio's development, they were hoping to make a movie about how animated penguins would come to life as a rock band in this thing called rockumentary. It would basically be the Beatles, but penguins. And it would have been a cool concept, but personally, I feel like Madagascar just did the penguins justice by making them spies. It's way more funny, especially given their situations and circumstances. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Does AI make the movie more expensive to make, or are they using AI to make it more affordable? Definitely the latter. So, you may not know this, but the Kung Fu Panda movies in particular are a great example. So, they created the first three movies about $150 each. And with the fourth movie, they only used $85 million. So, with that in mind, they actually dropped an entire $65 by making it so that the film would have been AI animated, but at the same time, they tried to make sure that they kept the love and care with the characters. So, yeah, while AI is helping the characters move and making it so that the animators have less work, they don't really matter in. Sorry. Yeah, AI is helping make the characters move and the animators work less, which means that they don't have to get paid as much, and also that they don't need as many animators. But with that in mind, that does mean that the film can actually look a little more beautiful because it gives the animators time to flesh out their creations. And so Victor M said, "Don't make a live-action Orion in the Dark or I swear." Yeah, I don't know what to say to that, because I'm excited for the live-action How to Train Your Dragon, but I kind of agree. Orion in the Dark is perfectly fine just the way it is with animation. As for making a live-action, I do not want to see one. I think How to Train Your Dragon is perfect for live action because it's kind of a finished franchise. Obviously, DreamWorks and Universal want to keep making money off of it, but they also don't want to milk the franchise with needless sequels, and especially after the third film brought a conclusion to the franchise. So, live action reboot is the perfect way to go. Amy says, "LOL, do you think that AI will take over the jobs of designers and animators?" No, definitely not. So character designers, they have to stick around. While AI could definitely help make a concept art, the final design has to be done by human hands or the movie's just not going to be any good. And as for the animators, they obviously need some animators, because while AI can make a movie look realistic and beautiful, and they can help the characters walk around, they still need animators to make sure that the AI is doing its job correctly. So I feel like maybe we'll get less and less animators working on projects, but as for full-on animation being completely AI, no, never gonna happen. Okay. Anybody else have a question? All right. I feel like we can. Okay. Ava says, "Do you think AI would ever write plots or scripts?" Not good ones. So maybe AI could write some good scripts, but it would just be repetitive and stuff we've already seen before. What makes a lot of DreamWorks movies, as well as the Wild Robot, just as a recent example, is that they took an idea that has never been done before and created it so beautifully. What is the worst Transformers movie? Yeah, you're asking the wrong guy. I haven't actually seen a lot of Transformers movies. I would say that maybe off the top of my head, I've only seen the first, second, and the Bumblebee, Rise of the Beasts, and the animated film Transformers 1. So I would say that the worst one is probably The Last Night, just based off reviews. As for the worst one I've actually seen, maybe the first movie. The first Transformers was just jarring for me to watch, and while I admit it might have its audience, it does have its moments, it was really jarring. I can't come up with another word for it. Elise says, why did you decide to make this channel? I've been dabbling in YouTube, and I've noticed that there are a lot of YouTubers who make Marvel or Star Wars and a bunch of other content, but there's not really any one channel that focuses almost exclusively on DreamWorks. And while I do dive into animation here or there, that's kind of where I thought it would work. I am a huge DreamWorks fan, and I have been since I discovered that Shrek was made by DreamWorks. Shrek was my childhood favorite movie. Then my other favorite movie, How to Train Your Dragon, that was also made by DreamWorks. So I thought, hey, why not just make a DreamWorks-focused channel? I watch all of their movies, most of their TV shows. It's a perfect fit. Rocket Man says, do you think if the Dogman movie is successful, we might get more Captain Underpants movies? I really hope that Dogman is successful because, I don't know about you guys, but when you advertise a film as the first epic movie, you typically expect that there will be more epic movies, especially because if you read the book series, you will know that there's plenty of material for the Captain Underpants films to dive into. Maybe not the return of Professor Poopy Pants, but I don't really know. I hope that we get to see both more Captain Underpants and more Dogman movies. Elise says, how many times have you seen Shrek? Okay, so like I said, I think that Shrek is my favorite childhood movie, and I literally watched it every single day. There was not a day that went by when I did not watch Shrek. So combine that with the first 7 years of my life, and then a little few times after that. And yeah, that ought to show you how many times I've watched Shrek. So definitely somewhere in the thousands. Victor M says, oh, DreamWorks make Orion in the Dark 2. What are your thoughts and predictions on it? No, do not make Orion in the Dark 2. I don't know about you personally, but I loved Orion in the Dark for what it was, but the problem is that it's just a children's story. It's not really meant to get a sequel. It's not like Boss Baby, where it was possible that this could have been a real thing, but in the end it was just a dad trying to tell his daughter a story. But the thing is that Boss Baby was actually really good, and it could have been portrayed as realistic. With Orion in the Dark, you know from the beginning that this is just a story, and it's definitely not a story that actually happened, unlike Boss Baby, where there was that little speculation. But yeah, with Orion in the Dark, I don't want them to make a sequel because that would just ruin the fact that this is a children's story, not a real thing. So, Rocket Man says, and maybe there might be Captain Underpants short to play in front of the bad guys too. No, I don't think we'll be getting a Captain Underpants short that soon, especially because the thing is, Bad Guys is kind of a mainline DreamWorks franchise, and because of that, they don't really want any outsourced content to play in front of it. So I don't think we're getting a Captain Underpants short. If anything, we might get a tease for a Captain Underpants movie. Probably not with the Bad Guys 2. I don't know how else to say that. Amy says, would you ever want to work for DreamWorks one day? Ooh, yes, definitely. I would definitely enjoy working at DreamWorks, especially because I would get to get insight onto what's happening in the sequels, as well as be able to create some of my own characters and stories. I actually have a couple, but we're gonna not talk about that here. Hey Annika, it's great to see you on the channel, and so with that, I think it's, so we've been going out this for 26 minutes. If there aren't any further questions, we're going to hold off for 4 more, and then we'll stop the live stream. What DreamWorks animal would make the best pet? Definitely Toothless. Well, obviously, it's not really a pet. It's more like a mutual bond of relationship where the rider and dragon have to bond as one. Their minds have to mix together. So, as for like an actual pet, I would probably pick, I don't really know. Maybe, I mean, I would really love it if dragons existed, but for a pet, maybe Natalia from Abominable the Invisible City. She's basically a 9-tailed fox with magical powers that can have hypnosis, so she might bribe you into doing whatever she wants you to do. But I don't know. I kind of really like Natalia. That's just a personal pick for me. And yeah, I don't really know. Like, part of what makes me love these characters so much is that they're characters. I don't really view any of them as animals. I think I would want that tiger from the Croods. Oh, actually, it's not a tiger, it's a death cat. That's actually the name of the species. But yeah, Chunky would definitely be a great pet. Ooh, actually no, Douglas. Douglas is my dream pet. Douglas is another character from the Croods. He is really cute, and he would definitely be a good pet to have. Chunky's pretty good though, too. Any other questions? Because if not, we might be ending this thing in 2 minutes. Okay, kind of talking to myself here. Victor M says, we need a Sean Charmet cinematic universe. We need an Earthbound movie, make a Mega Man movie, make a Sonic movie, and make a crossover that is similar to the Avengers. Okay, yeah, I have some theories about that. I never really heard of Sean Charman's, but I've heard plenty of Earthbound, Sonic, and Mega Man. There's already a Sonic movie, but I get what you're trying to say. What if there was a cinematic universe for video games? That would be really awesome, we could see Earthbound, Mega Man, but more importantly, I feel like Nintendo should be the ones to make this, because we already have the Nintendo crossover Super Smash Bros. So with that in mind, Nintendo could make some established IP, and if anybody wants, they could say, hey, we want to make our own third-party movie. Can we make it so that it will eventually be brought over into the Super Smash Bros. Crossover film? I would definitely enjoy that. Amy says, Douglas is very cute. Yeah, agreed. Elise says, when is your next live stream? Oof, that's actually a toughie. So I'm thinking, I don't actually know. Based on what has been going on for this live stream, I'd say probably not for a while, because I need more of an audience. I feel like I got plenty of people watching now, but early on, there's a lot of pauses where I'm trying to figure out. I don't know. Maybe if I was doing something other than Q&A, we might see another live stream. Like, I could play some DreamWorks video games. That would probably be really cool, but no. Do you think we'll get a Puss in Boots short focused on Perito? That's actually a pretty fun idea. Probably not gonna happen before the Shrek 5 is released, but honestly, when Shrek 5 becomes a success, I think that Perito could get his own short film in the Blu-ray DVD edition of the movie. Like, I don't know, like DreamWorks has kind of been taking the Illumination approach by putting mini movies as bonus features in their home media, which will not only incentivize people to buy the movie instead of wait for streaming, but it's also really fun because it's kind of a way for the newer animators to get tested on how they learn to work with the software. That's really cool. But yeah, a Perito short film, I think it could happen with the Blu-ray release of Shrek 5, but who knows? Victor M. also make a sequel for Orion in the Dark and the Sean Charmant cinematic universe and add the first movie. Okay, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. Like I said, I don't really like the idea of an Orion in the Dark 2, and I don't know, like, I never heard of Sean Charman, so maybe I could go watch a couple movies from it. I'm sorry, is he a person, like, in the real world who makes movies, or is he a character in a franchise? Because if that's the case, I could probably watch a couple of his content. Either way, I need to learn more about him. I don't know much. Rocketman 101, DreamWorks shorts are underrated. Yeah, I kind of agree and disagree. I mean, DreamWorks hasn't really made a lot of short films. They've made some really quality television specials, and early on in their early days, they made a lot of great shorts, but these days, their shorts aren't that great. They're either passed off to the television division, which isn't really that good, or they're just 3 to 5 minute clips where the characters just go on a random nonsensical adventure that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. So, yeah, I'd say DreamWorks shorts were great. Nowadays, they're not really too good. Marcus Grande says, do you watch Halloween movies? Yeah, I mean, I did watch a lot of Halloween movies. I had a marathon of a lot of the classic Universal monsters from the 1930s. But no, I can't say that I watched a lot of Halloween movies. Like, I mean, not on a monthly basis. Like, maybe every October I watch The Nightmare Before Christmas, but that's kind of the only Halloween movie that I try to watch every year. After that, it's kind of just circumstantial. Ava says that Sean might be an animator. Elise says, if you ran DreamWorks, what would you do different? Ooh, great question. Probably not really anything. Like, I might say give the Oh, actually, I come up with a couple ideas. So, focused on the television side of things, give the animators on those projects a bigger budget so that the shows actually look good, like the movies. I would definitely enjoy that because the TV show side of things has taken a downgrade in animation, especially compared to when they first started. As at the same time, I would also make it so that every single DreamWorks movie that happens to have a TV show in the franchise would make some connection with the TV show. Maybe not an important enough connection where you have to watch the TV show, but those who have seen the TV show will be like, ooh, that's a fun Easter egg right there. That would be pretty cool. Scared Shrekless is goated from Rocket Man. Yeah, Scared Shrekless is a really great Halloween short. That's really cool. Definitely enjoyed watching that one. In fact, I actually plan to make a review of it sometime next year, most likely in October, to celebrate Halloween. But, I don't know, I do plan to talk about Scared Shrekless on the channel. That is a fun idea I have in the back of my mind. Okay, so any other questions? Okay, what is the best sci-fi and alien invasion movie? Wow, that's I would say that maybe Monsters vs. Aliens is the best alien invasion movie, but that's just me personally. I haven't really seen a lot of alien movies. In fact, I would argue that maybe Three Below, the DreamWorks TV show. Not necessarily a movie, but it's all about aliens coming to Earth. Definitely worth watching. I highly recommend Three Below. Marcos Grande says Spooky Jack will happen. Okay, so for those of you who are not aware, Spooky Jack is a DreamWorks movie that was canceled. It has been canceled for about 5 years now, I would say, and it's just not gonna happen. I don't even know what the story was about. It's just gonna be based on a book, I believe. But Spooky Jack, yeah, not really. I don't think it will ever happen. Do you think the bad guys too will get McDonald's toys? Ooh, that's a great question right there. I don't know. I remember back in the DreamWorks heyday when they would actually get when DreamWorks would advertise their movies with McDonald's toys, but I can't say I've actually seen a McDonald's DreamWorks crossover in a very, very long time. So maybe, I don't know. I don't think it will happen, but if it does happen, I would be very excited for it. Probably wouldn't get any of the toys, but it could happen. Elise McIntosh says home. I don't know what that means. Are we talking about the movie Home, or are you just spamming something in general? Okay, I'm just gonna talk about the movie Home. I think that Home is a good movie. Definitely some great writing, especially coming from the aliens. I love the way that they talk with how, like, can I come into the out now? I actually say that every time I see my dogs locked in their kennels. Like, does someone want to come into the out now? Oh, Home is an alien invasion movie. Okay. Actually, are we still talking about the DreamWorks movie or a completely different movie? But yeah, Home is actually a really great movie, especially because it dives into the culture of the Boov, like how they don't really have any motherly instincts because they don't have any families. That's just who the Boov are. And it's great that we see that connection with how the Boov are learning what it means to be human and have feelings, and that it's okay to make mistakes. You don't just make 9 and then die on your 10th. But Marcos Grande says Spooky Jack was removed from the schedule and replaced with the bad guys. Yeah, because Spooky Jack was canceled. Captain Smek is epic. I wouldn't really say that. He was a good villain for what the movie was trying to get. Definitely a corrupt leader, but he is nowhere near the best DreamWorks villain. Like, he's probably on the D tier. Actually, I think I made a ranking video of DreamWorks villains, and I don't know where I put him. I can't remember, but he was definitely lower. Victor M says, we will get a Shrek, Madagascar, Kung Fu Panda, Monsters versus... Oh, will we get a Shrek, Madagascar, Kung Fu Panda, Monsters vs. Aliens, or a Trolls live-action remake? No, definitely no to Trolls because there's not really any humans there. Same thing with Kung Fu Panda. Like, they almost brought human characters into Kung Fu Panda with the 4th film, and I am so happy they didn't, as are plenty of other fans. So no, I don't think Trolls or Kung Fu Panda are getting live action remakes. As for MVA, like Monsters vs. Aliens, I think it could happen, but probably not, considering that MVA is viewed as a box office failure, and even though it does have its audience, it's probably not going to happen. As for Shrek, I think that would be the perfect choice to go if, like, once Shrek 5 is released and ends the franchise, maybe they could keep it going with live action reboots, because Shrek is kind of like, you could just put him in a CG suit and he would be really cool to see in live action. As for Madagascar, probably not. So, like, there are definitely plenty of humans, but maybe aside from Captain Chantal Dubois or Nana, there aren't really any human main characters, so it would focus exclusively on the animals. And that just sounds like a recipe for disaster in my mind. Like, you have the Jungle Book, it focused on Mowgli and was highly praised. Then you have the Lion King, yeah, big time flop. Ava says, yes, I love Captain Smek, he's iconic. Yeah, okay, yeah, I can see that. Captain Smek is, yeah, he's a good villain for what he needs to be. He's a corrupt leader, but again, not really the best DreamWorks villain. Marcos Grande says, Plants vs. Zombie movie. Okay, yeah, we're really diving into the canceled DreamWorks projects here. So, yeah, Plants vs. Zombies is a video game, and at one point, DreamWorks signed a contract to turn the video game into a movie, but then it just never really went anywhere, and due to creative differences with how to handle the story, it just got canceled and canned. So maybe we could get a Plants vs. Zombie movie, but it's like maybe, and I don't know, I'm not really hopeful for it. Okay. Wow, we're getting a lot of people commenting now. Okay. Captain Smek is a pretty funny character. Yes, agreed. Definitely the tire scene comes to mind. Um, okay. Justin, the Jumanji Peter Rabbit fan. Ooh, yeah. Q&A, will DreamWorks Puss in Boots get an animated musical TV special? I really hope not. I mean, I think that Puss in Boots does have what it takes to pull off a musical special, but I hope that it's not turned over to the television division because I don't know, like part of what makes musicals special, especially in animation, is how beautiful the dance sequences and choreography can get. With TV shows, with especially the modern day DreamWorks shows, it just feels like it's going to be a flop. Will DreamWorks make Jumanji Camp Jungles with Sony Pictures Television? Okay, I had no idea that that Jumanji was getting a TV show. No, I don't really see that happening. The thing is that, like, so with Jurassic World and Fast and Furious, those are owned by Universal. And DreamWorks happens to also be owned by Universal. So it makes sense why DreamWorks would make TV shows based on those franchises. Jumanji is purely Sony, and while Sony is working with DreamWorks Pictures Imageworks to create some of their movies in the future, I don't think that Jumanji will ever be passed off to DreamWorks Animation. And if anything, Sony will just do the animating themselves or find a completely different partner. Marcus Grande says, let's hope doesn't get the old Shrek design. Oh, yeah, that's so for those of you who may not know, Shrek is actually based on a book from a children's book. It came out back in 1991, and in that book, Shrek was horrifying. He was very ugly to look at, and despite that, DreamWorks decided to do some test animation using that character, and if you look it up, it is horrifying to look at. But I'm really happy that they changed the Shrek design so that it is what it is today. It's definitely an upgrade in my eyes. Do you play Sonic games? Oh, actually, no, I don't. So I actually bought a ton of Sonic games, but I've just been kind of occupied with other video games. Like recently I've been playing Lego Star Wars, but yeah, I have Sonic games, but I just haven't really opened them. When do you think the Bad Guys TV show given leaks storyboards on Twitter? I'm not really sure. I haven't seen any leaked storyboards, so I think that the Bad Guys TV show is definitely happening because, as I said in the special reviews, the DreamWorks keeps advertising the Bad Guys specials as a Netflix original